So I want to start with a number, 3.2 billion. That's the number of people on this planet right now who don't have a sustained access to the gospel. Not occasional access, not indirect access, no meaningfully sustained, culturally appropriate access to the good news of Jesus Christ. Now, I've been in media ministry long enough to know that when you say a number that big, people sort of nod their heads and move on because it's too big to feel real. So let me make it feel real for a second. That number is roughly 10 times the population of the United States. It's more than 40 times the total membership of the Seventh-day Adventist Church. And the goal of Onvoice27 is, we believe, God has commissioned this church to do something serious about that number. Now, the question is not whether we want to reach them. Of course we do. The question is, as we are being Spirit-led, are we using every tool possible at our disposal? And that is what I want to talk about today. Hope.Cloud International is the evangelistic visual brand media of the Seventh-day Adventist Church. That's not a small thing to say. Evangelistic. Not pastoral, not discipleship. Evangelistic. What that means in practice is that our primary audience is out there, not in here. You can see on the slide what we call the audience architecture. 5 segments, A through E. A is committed missional Adventist. B is your baptized member. C is someone interested in what Adventists believe. And then you get to D and E. D is other Christians, and E is other worldviews entirely. People who are not Christian. People who may have never had meaningful encounters with the claims of Jesus. This shows you where Hope.Cloud's mandate sits. We are commissioned to reach D's and E's, to engage them, to create content that connects with their world, and lead them over time towards community, towards connection, and towards the church. That's our lane. And everything we do with AI follows that mandate. Now, before we take a look at the tools, here's something that shaped our entire content strategy, and I think it's really important to understand. We identified, drawing heavily from the writings of Ellen White, that there are 5 types of heart needs in a seeking audience. And I want to be very careful how I say this. These are not personality types. These are not demographic categories. They are doorways to the heart. Number 1, the searcher. This is someone who is spiritually curious. They're actively looking for meaning, for truth, for something that holds together. They engage with evidence. They will follow the argument. They just need somebody to start the conversation. Number 2, the hurting. This person is not looking for theology. They're in pain. And they need to encounter a God that sees them, that He hasn't abandoned them, and that there is comfort available first before theology. Number 3, the questioner. They have intellectual objections. They think religion is for those who are not thinking carefully. And number 4, the isolated. Loneliness is one of the defining crises of our time. This person is not asking theological questions. They're asking whether anyone cares, whether community is possible. And number 5, the alarmed. They're watching the world and they're scared. Climate, conflict, economic instability. They sense that something is profoundly wrong and they want to know, is there an answer? Now, here's the thing. A single audience member can carry multiple doorways at once. The person who is alarmed may also be hurting. The searcher may also be isolated. And what AI is beginning to help us do is identify which doorways is most active for our audience segment in a cultural context at a particular moment in time, and then aids us in designing the content we have developed, and we continue to refine a model that examines social trends in a specific cultural context and matches them against the audience needs, as taken from Ellen White's writings. This model tells us very quickly which doorways is most pressing and in which community, without guessing. Something that would have taken us months of field research and tens of thousands of dollars, we're now doing in minutes for cents on the dollar. So let me talk to you about why reaching those 3.2 billion people is hard and how we're using AI tools to help. We've mapped 3 categories of barriers for reaching the unreached. The first is access barriers. Restricted access, closed environments, places where Christian media is blocked by governments, by censorship, by legal frameworks. If you produce a Hope Channel branded piece of content and try to distribute it into certain parts of the world, it gets stopped. Full stop. The second is structural barriers. Now, I say this with love for our organization, but we have structural drag. We have legacy models and we have institutional friction. We're a big church, And big churches take time to move. And sometimes the world changes faster than we can respond. That's not an accusation. It's just an honest assessment of where we are. Now, the third barrier is the one that I think we have most underestimated, and it's the intelligence barrier. Limited audience intelligence, low intelligence flow, assumptions-based content strategies. So what does that mean? It means that in the past, sometimes we've been guessing. We produce content based on what we think people need. We distribute it the way we've always distributed it, and then we measure success by how much content we put out, not whether or not it actually connects with anyone in the group D and E. Now, if you look at the bottom of the screen, I want to read to you these words. It says, geography is no longer the primary barrier. Intelligence is. And that is exactly the insight that's changed everything for us. And it's the real reason that AI matters so much for us in this mission. We've made the decision, a deliberate strategic decision, from shifting from broadcast expansion to digital penetration. What does that mean? 3 things. Number 1, we bypass access barriers. We don't wait for permission to enter closed environments. We design content that can move through the channels that are already open. Number 2, we design around people groups, not just languages, not just regions. We start to focus on specific people groups with specific worldviews, with specific cultural touch points, with specific doorways to their heart need. Number 3, we operate with intelligence, not assumption, not tradition, not the gut feel, actual data, actual insight, actually learning from what works and what doesn't work. From broadcast expansion to digital penetration, that's the shift that these AI tools are helping us with, and that's key for us. So here's what we are working with to help equip the Hope Channel network in reaching the unreached. We call it Mission Intelligence. And I want to walk you through it and what it actually is. If you look at this pipeline here on the screen, there are 5 stages to mission. Stage 1 is mission knowledge. Before we produce a single frame of content, we do research. We gather local knowledge, gospel insights from those who are actually on the ground. The help of Adventist mission here is imperative, and understanding of the local needs, the ministry opportunities that exist. This is the starter. This is the raw material that goes into the mission intelligence process. Stage 2 is the audience study. This is where AI help becomes powerful. It helps us analyze audience demographics, social habits, trends on platforms, and analytics. We look at worldview data. We ask, what is the audience actually believing? What do they fear? And what do they hope for? We assess their needs through the lens of the 5 doorways. We look at this early in the process, and we're no longer needing to guess because now we have intelligence. Stage 3 is church capacity. What does the local church actually have to offer? What ministries exist? What capacity to follow up and discipleship exist? Because a media ministry that generates interest but has no hand to pass those over to, well, that's a media ministry that's wasting its reach. Stage 4 is the distribution plan. Which platforms? What are the promotion strategies? What is the time of day that the audience will engage? What formats work in their context? And stage 5 is the engagement plan. This is where we think about the journey from the viewer to disciple. What is the call to action? How do we create digital connections that lead to physical connections? And how do we get someone from watching a video to sitting in a church? Now, here's how this translates into an actual production engagement workflow. It starts with local field intelligence combined with AI-assisted mission research. That feeds into rapid production using AI tools that can generate scripts, create visual content, prototype concepts in hours instead of months. This doesn't replace our studio or our content creating teams. What this does is it allows us to test strategies faster and less expensive than has previously been possible. This lets us produce a contextualized message, not a generic Christian message. A message designed for a people group in their language, addressing a doorway on a platform that they're on. And here's something where we're really excited. We're currently building an AI chat that is trained on Adventist theology and pastoral care. So someone who engages with a piece of content will have an immediate follow-up conversation with a model that's equipped to walk them further along the journey, not as a replacement for the human pastor or Bible worker, but as a first point of contact that keeps the door open. Now, let me get practical. Let me tell you specifically what AI tools we're actually using. We've built a platform called Hope.Cloud. and integrated into that platform is a capacity called Jetstream. Jetstream allows us to take video content. It gives us AI transcription, AI dubbing, and AI translation with AI voices. Now, let me tell you why this matters. Historically, to take a piece of content and make it available in another language, you needed translators, you needed voiceover artists, a studio, post-production time, and a budget that most of our fields simply don't have. So, the content stayed in the production language, whichever field made it. And the reach was limited by the economics of traditional localization. Jetstream changes that equation. We can now take a produced piece of content and generate dubbed, translated versions in multiple languages with lip sync matching in the fraction of time and cost. Is it perfect? Not yet, but it's getting there. The game has changed. Beyond Jetstream, we're using a range of AI image, video, and audio generation tools like Nano Banana, Cdance, Kling, Veo, and 11 Labs to do some amazing things. We're rapidly designing and testing characters that look like local people, that speak local languages, and are culturally authentic in their appearance, their manner, their context. This isn't a gimmick. This is a serious missiological tool for reaching people groups where a foreign face on the screen would immediately create a barrier. Let me show you what that means. This is Hope Labs. This is our Mission Intelligence Innovation Lab right here at Hope Channel. These are AI-generated characters. They're not real people. They're constructed personas designed to be culturally appropriate, messengers for specific people groups. You can see here an example of the variety. Different ethnicities, different appearances, different cultural registers, all generated using AI. The thinking behind Hope Labs is simple. We want to be able to rapidly design, test, fail, and learn, and then repeat until we can find what works. Now, here's where it gets interesting. Let me show you a case study. This is content we have been developing targeting Muslim audiences, specific Muslim audience. And I want you to notice something about this. The presenter is culturally appropriate for the audience. She's not presenting as a Christian broadcaster. She's not flying a Hope Channel flag. She's starting from inside the worldview of the audience and building bridges from there out. The content begins with what is familiar, what's shared, and then it moves on carefully towards the claims of Jesus. Not in a way that's deceptive, but in a way that doesn't create unnecessary barriers before the conversation has even started. Here's another case study. A Buddhist audience, different character, different cultural appearance, different entry point into the spiritual conversation. Same principles, start where they are, meet them in their worldview, and then walk them slowly towards the gospel. Now, I want to be completely transparent about something. These are tests. We are learning. Some of this works, some of it doesn't. And I'm going to say something that I think is actually quite radical for organizations to say. We're not embarrassed by failure. We document it. We analyze it. Why didn't it land? And then we apply the learnings to the next iteration. The content strategy that doesn't test and fail is content strategy that never discovers what actually works. So let me close with this. I'm not here telling you that AI is the answer to reaching the 3.2 billion unreached people, because AI is not the answer. The power that transforms hearts is the Holy Spirit, and the Holy Spirit alone. We're not confused about that. But if AI helps us be smarter about who we reach, how we reach them, when we reach them, and what to say when we get there, it doesn't replace the gospel. It helps us get the gospel to the people. From our Mission Intelligence portal, to our Jetstream studio, to our AI mission models, to our AI-generated avatars. AI tools are here and being used. At Hope Channel, we're all in on the mission. We continue to build infrastructure. We continue running experiments. We're doing the work. And we are blessed to have a global network where we are all in active partnership. The intelligence that matters the most is local. The relationship that matters the most is local. And trust that makes the gospel land, that is local. 3.2 billion unreached people groups. Oneboice27. AI tools. This is the moment. Hope starts here.